Bonding the 4 ground bars together using a bonding jumper conductor is required. While the metal panel box provides a connection, it is not sufficient for several reasons. Firstly, the metal panel box can become loose over time, which could compromise the connection between the ground bars. Secondly, the metal panel box can corrode, leading to increased resistance and poor grounding. Thirdly, the National Electrical Code, or NEC, requires that all grounding electrode conductors and equipment grounding conductors be bonded together at the service panel or subpanel. Use an insulated copper bonding jumper conductor sized according to the NEC. A typical size is number 6 AWG or larger. Connect the bonding jumper conductor to the main grounding conductor coming from the 800 amps panel. Then run the bonding jumper conductor to each of the 4 ground bars, connecting them together. Bonding the ground bars ensures that firstly, the subpanel is properly grounded. Secondly, electrical faults are safely directed to the grounding system. Thirdly, equipment and personnel are protected from electrical shock. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. The purpose of grounding is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, allowing overcurrent protection devices like circuit breakers or fuses to quickly trip and clear the fault. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of an electrical system are at the same electrical potential, preventing dangerous voltage differences that could cause electric shock. Grounding electrode conductors connect the electrical system to the earth, providing a reference point for voltage and helping to dissipate static electricity and surge voltages. Equipment grounding conductors connect the non-current carrying metallic parts of electrical equipment to the grounding system, providing a path for fault current to flow back to the source. When a fault occurs, such as a live wire coming into contact with a metal enclosure, the fault current flows through the equipment grounding conductor back to the source. This high current causes the overcurrent protection device to trip, disconnecting the circuit and preventing a dangerous shock hazard. Without proper grounding and bonding, a fault could cause the metal enclosure to become energized, posing a significant risk of electric shock to anyone who touches it. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding to ensure electrical safety. These requirements cover various aspects of electrical installations, including the size and type of grounding and bonding conductors, the methods for connecting them, and the specific requirements for different types of equipment and systems. Article 250 of the NEC is dedicated to grounding and bonding. It outlines the general requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems, including the types of grounding systems permitted, the methods for grounding different types of equipment, and the requirements for grounding electrodes. Grounding electrodes are used to connect the electrical system to the earth. Common types of grounding electrodes include metal underground water pipes, ground rods, and ground plates. The NEC specifies the requirements for the size and installation of grounding electrodes, as well as the methods for connecting them to the electrical system. Bonding jumpers are used to connect different metallic parts of an electrical system together, ensuring that they are at the same electrical potential. The NEC specifies the requirements for the size and type of bonding jumpers, as well as the methods for connecting them. Equipment grounding conductors are used to connect the non-current carrying metallic parts of electrical equipment to the grounding system. The NEC specifies the requirements for the size and type of equipment grounding conductors, as well as the methods for connecting them. The size of grounding and bonding conductors is determined by the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. The NEC provides tables that specify the minimum size of grounding and bonding conductors based on the ampere rating of the overcurrent protection device. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for protecting people and property from electrical hazards. By following the requirements of the NEC, electrical systems can be installed and maintained in a safe and reliable manner. In the specific scenario with the 200 amp subpanel fed from an 800 amps panel, several key considerations apply. Firstly, the grounding electrode conductor, or GEC, connects the grounding system of the subpanel to a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or the metal water pipe system. The size of the GEC is determined by NEC Table 250.66 based on the size of the ungrounded conductors feeding the subpanel. In this case, since the subpanel is fed by conductors from an 800 amps panel. The GEC must be appropriately sized to handle potential fault currents. Secondly, the equipment grounding conductor, or EGC, runs with the circuit conductors from the 800 amps panel to the 200 amps subpanel. Its purpose is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, tripping the overcurrent device and clearing the fault. The size of the EGC is determined by NEC Table 250.122 based on the rating of the overcurrent protective device protecting the circuit. In this case, the EGC must be sized according to the 200 amps overcurrent device protecting the subpanel. Thirdly, bonding refers to the connection of all non-current carrying metal parts of the electrical system to ensure electrical continuity and a low impedance path to ground. This includes the metal enclosure of the subpanel, metal conduits, and other metal components. Bonding is essential to minimize voltage differences and prevent shock hazards. The main bonding jumper, or MBJ, connects the grounded conductor, or neutral, to the metal enclosure of the subpanel at the server's entrance or first disconnecting means. In a subpanel, the neutral conductor must be isolated from the metal enclosure and the grounding system. This is because the subpanel receives its grounding through the equipment grounding conductor from the upstream panel. Connecting the neutral to the enclosure in a subpanel would create a parallel path for neutral current, which is a violation of the NEC. With multiple ground bars installed in the 200 amp subpanel, it is essential to ensure that they are properly bonded together. While the metal enclosure of the subpanel provides some degree of connection between the ground bars, it is not considered a reliable or sufficient bonding method. The NEC requires that all grounding electrode conductors and equipment grounding conductors be connected together to form a solid grounding system. To achieve this, a bonding jumper conductor must be installed between the ground bars. The size of the bonding jumper conductor should be determined based on NEC Table 250.122 using the rating of the overcurrent protective device protecting the circuit. In this case, the bonding jumper should be sized according to the 200 amps overcurrent device. The bonding jumper conductor should be securely connected to each of the ground bars using appropriate connectors, such as lugs or bonding screws. The connection should be clean and free of corrosion to ensure a low impedance path for fault current. The purpose of bonding the ground bars together is to create a common ground potential throughout the subpanel. This ensures that all metal parts of the electrical system are at the same voltage, minimizing the risk of electric shock. If one of the ground bars were to become loose or disconnected, the bonding jumper conductor would provide an alternative path for fault current, maintaining the integrity of the grounding system. The NEC also requires that all equipment grounding conductors be connected to the ground bar in the subpanel. This includes the grounding conductors from branch circuits, as well as the grounding conductors from any equipment connected to the subpanel. By connecting all equipment grounding conductors to the ground bar, a solid grounding system is established, providing a safe path for fault current to return to the source. It is important to note that the grounding and bonding requirements of the NEC are complex and can vary depending on the specific application. It is always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that the electrical system is installed and maintained in accordance with the NEC. Improper grounding and bonding can create dangerous electrical hazards, including electric shock and fire. By following the requirements of the NEC and using proper installation techniques, electrical systems can be made safe and reliable. In summary, the bonding of ground bars in a subpanel is crucial for maintaining a safe and effective grounding system. While the metal enclosure of the subpanel may provide some degree of connection, it is not considered a reliable or sufficient bonding method. The NEC requires that all grounding electrode conductors and equipment grounding conductors be connected together to form a solid grounding system, which is achieved by installing a bonding jumper conductor between the ground bars. The size of the bonding jumper conductor should be determined based on NEC Table 250.122, and the connections should be secure and free of corrosion. By following these guidelines, electrical systems can be made safe and reliable, protecting people and property from electrical hazards. Furthermore, it's beneficial to understand how to inspect and maintain the grounding and bonding system over time. Regular inspections can help identify potential issues before they become major problems. Look for signs of corrosion, loose connections, or damaged conductors. Corrosion can increase resistance in the grounding path, reducing its effectiveness. Loose connections can also compromise the grounding system, as they may not provide a reliable path for fault current. Damaged conductors can also reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system. If any of these issues are found, they should be corrected immediately. Corrosion can be removed with a wire brush and a corrosion inhibitor applied to the connection. Loose connections should be tightened and damaged conductors should be replaced. It's also important to ensure that the grounding electrode is in good condition. Ground rod should be driven deep enough into the earth to provide a good connection. The connection between the grounding electrode conductor and the ground rod should be secure and free of corrosion. If the ground rod is damaged or corroded, it should be replaced. Another important aspect of grounding and bonding is surge protection. Surge protective devices, or SPD, can help protect electrical equipment from voltage surges caused by lightning or other events. SPD should be installed at the service entrance and at any subpanels. They should also be installed on any sensitive electronic equipment. SPD work by diverting surge current to ground, protecting the equipment from damage. It's also important to ensure that the electrical system is properly labeled. All panels and disconnects should be clearly labeled to indicate their function. Grounding and bonding connections should also be labeled to indicate their purpose. Labeling helps to ensure that the electrical system is properly maintained and that any problems can be quickly identified. The use of proper tools and equipment is also essential for safe and effective grounding and bonding. When working with electrical systems, always use insulated tools to protect against electric shock. Use a torque wrench to ensure that connections are properly tightened. Use a multimeter to verify that grounding and bonding connections are properly made. Finally, it's important to stay up to date on the latest electrical codes and standards. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and it's important to be aware of any changes that may affect grounding and bonding requirements. Continuing education courses and seminars can help electricians and other electrical professionals stay up to date on the latest codes and standards. By following these tips, you can help ensure that the grounding and bonding system is properly installed, maintained, and protected. This will help to protect people and property from electrical hazards and ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical equipment. The information provided is intended for educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before working on electrical systems. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's important to take all necessary safety precautions. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment or PPE such as safety glasses and gloves. Turn off the power before working on any electrical circuits. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off. Follow all applicable electrical codes and standards. By following these safety precautions, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries. In addition to the specific scenario described, it is also important to consider the broader context of electrical safety and the role that grounding and bonding play in protecting people and property. Electrical systems are designed to provide a safe and reliable source of power, but they can also be dangerous if not properly installed and maintained. Grounding and bonding are essential components of electrical safety, as they help to minimize the risk of electric shock, fire, and other electrical hazards. Electric shock occurs when a person comes into contact with an energized conductor and a path to ground. The severity of the shock depends on the amount of current that flows through the body, as well as the duration of the shock. Even a small amount of current can be dangerous, and a large amount of current can be fatal. Grounding and bonding help to prevent electric shock by providing a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. This causes the overcurrent protection device to trip, disconnecting the circuit and preventing a dangerous shock hazard. Fire can also be caused by electrical faults. When a fault occurs, the current can flow through unintended paths, such as through combustible materials. This can cause the materials to overheat and ignite, starting a fire. Grounding and bonding help to prevent electrical fires by providing a safe path for fault current to flow. This prevents the current from flowing through unintended paths and reduces the risk of fire. Other electrical hazards include arc flash and arc blast. Arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can occur when a high voltage arc forms between conductors. Arc blast is the pressure wave that is created by an arc flash. Arc flash and arc blast can cause serious injuries, including burns, blindness, and hearing loss. Grounding and bonding help to reduce the risk of arc flash and arc blast by providing a low impedance path for fault current to flow. This helps to limit the duration and intensity of the arc flash and reduces the risk of injury. In addition to protecting people and property, grounding and bonding also help to improve the performance and reliability of electrical equipment. Proper grounding and bonding can help to reduce electrical noise and interference, which can improve the performance of sensitive electronic equipment. Grounding and bonding can also help to prevent equipment damage caused by voltage surges and other electrical disturbances. The cost of proper grounding and bonding is relatively small compared to the potential cost of electrical accidents and injuries. Investing in proper grounding and bonding is a smart way to protect people and property from electrical hazards and ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical equipment. In conclusion, grounding and bonding are essential components of electrical safety and play a critical role in protecting people and property from electrical hazards. By following the requirements of the NEC and using proper installation techniques, electrical systems can be made safer and reliable. Regular inspections and maintenance can help to identify and correct any potential problems before they become major issues. Investing in proper grounding and bonding is a smart way to protect people and property from electrical hazards and ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical equipment. And, of course, always consult with a qualified electrician.